Hello. Sorry about that, guys.
Hi everyone. How's the sound today? Let's do a quick sound check with everyone. Can you
Everyone
hear
here
us
is fine.
okay?
We got all our stuff for Christmas, so it's all set up, ready to roll properly now. So hopefully you can hear us all.
Yeah.
Let us know if you can hear us. I hope you've all had a lovely Christmas as much as it can be. It's not been the best weather-wise either, is it?
Oh, we've got it's like windy. I think the house is going to blow down. If I go missing, the house is blown down. That's all. In the northwest of England, it's just really bad at the
Brilliant.
moment. We've got some storm with a name, but I never remember them. Um, but yeah, it's just all the bins are blowing around and all the cars are all the alarms are going off and everything. It's fun.
Yeah. Right, all loud and clear. Yeah,
Are
same
we
as
all good?
Funky. Literally full of the lurgy here. So if you hear coughing, we do apologise, but we can't control that. It's
Oh, I'm
just
so sorry.
right.
We were going to go
So
live sooner, weren't we? But
yeah,
we
it's
were all
just
like
been awful.
Pauline.
So let's start with this disclaimer. Just going to read this out quickly. We are a topical discussion channel, and any discussions are for entertainment purposes only. The opinions expressed by the hosts and guests are based on personal experience and the research they may have conducted. However, they are merely personal opinions and should be treated as such. Theories within the content are not designed to offend or incite hate towards anyone. We encourage our community to remain respectful and be kind to members and guests. We hope you enjoy the channel, and if you'd kindly like and subscribe, we will help. This would help our channel greatly. So that's that done and out the way.
Yeah. And then
So
all the same rule applies from the last time. We're not allowed to play the audio. We wish we could, but we're not allowed. So basically we have created our own notes from the audio file that we have purchased from Dr. Aidley, who is the coroner for Lancashire. And we've made our own notes, and we're going to read out, and we're going to basically paraphrase how things are said. Today we're going to talk about the witnesses. These are the people who gave evidence in the coroner's inquest. We're not going to use their full names out of respect. These people are not they're not specialists or experts. They're merely people like you and I, and we just feel that if we just refer to them by their initials, you will know exactly who we mean. If you follow the case, you'll know exactly who we mean, but we're just not going to use their full name, just showing them a bit of respect, basically, if that's okay.
yeah, Jen, I've just realised I've just literally transcribed the first lot, so I'm going to have to read through that myself because I haven't sent it to you.
Oh no, you were
the
doing
sound,
that.
yeah, the sound threw us. So
Oh, that's okay, because I'm working in the background anyway, because I'm going to be creating some maps as we go along with some different timelines on them as well, just so that we can get a visual on where people are at roughly the same time as each other. So I've got a map, and I'm just going to put their names on where they should be at that time, so I can do that.
Right, so the first witness that was called up was K.E.K. I'm going to say the name then. So she read out and then Dr. Adley asked her if she could tell him his full name, and she said yeah, and read out her full name. What's your profession? She's a receptionist at Barnett's. Dr. Adley then says, I understand that on the morning of the 27th of January, you was dropping your children off at the school in the village and you came across Nikki. and asked what time she arrived and what happened. So she said she arrived between 8:30 and 8:40 because there was another parent late. That's how she knew what time it was. And the gate was just shutting at 8:40. She was dropped her eldest child off at school and was walking back to the car when she saw Nikki stood by the car with the back down with Willow in the car. They walked past each other, said morning, are you okay? And they both said yes, fine. And they got talking about the dog. Dr. Adley asks, how did she appear to you? And she replied, as how I normally know Nikki on a Friday morning school run. She was normal self, and how she's always seen her at the school and out on socials. And there was nothing different that day. Dr. Adley asked if she was anxious or low in mood. And she replied, no, you know what everyone's like on a Friday morning school run. I think we're all like that, aren't we? But she wasn't sad. She was just her normal self. He asked if she had a dog. Obviously she did, because Willow was sat in the car with the boot down. And then he asked, some of these questions are stupid, but I understand you had a conversation about dogs. And she said, yeah, because her little boy, she had a little boy with her. She was trying to get him to stroke the dog. They had a chat about Willow, and she couldn't believe that Willow was now on senior food, even though Willow was only 7. And Willow's now classed as an old dog. How long did the conversation last? He asked. 2 to 3 minutes. During that time, did you notice anything about Nikki that was in any way different? And said you've known her for about 12 months, which KEK replied, yeah, she's known her from the school and known her through other friends. And again, Dr. Adley asked, is there anything different about her, anything that would cause you concern? And she replied, nothing. Dr. Adley then asked Miss Cartwright if she has any questions. And Miss Cartwright said, this is the bully attorney, said no, she has no questions, and thanked her for giving her statement to the police today.
Yeah, we've actually got a map that shows that interaction at 8:40. You should have that already. That was the one I did as an example. You got that handy
up
to
on the
show
screen
people?
now, yeah.
Have you got it handy there?
She's just putting it up.
I have nothing.
So basically, normal morning by the sounds of it. I'm usually quite happy on a Friday because it's a weekend day, isn't it? Does anyone else? How do you feel on a Friday?
Half and half. It's like been a long week, you know. You know it's the weekend, but you've still got that last school run to do.
Yeah, maybe more happier when it's pick up time, when you can chill out a bit then.
Yeah.
She didn't send that.
Oh, Jen, you haven't sent it yet.
Oh, have you not got it? I sent it. That was the one I sent when we were practicing.
She's looking for it. I'll go through Richard Fife's. So obviously Richard Fife wasn't at the inquest. So he had a statement that was taken on the 1st of February 2023. And Dr. Adley's secretary read this statement out. I am the above named person and reside at the address known to police. This is my statement in regard to the sighting of a missing person on the day of her disappearance. In my statement, I will mention a male I saw whilst I was out walking, who I shall refer to as the man in black. So this is where the man in black's come from. A female dog walker, who I shall also refer to as a female dog walker, and another dog walker, who is male, and I will refer to as a male with dog. Lastly, I will mention Nicola, who is the lady has gone missing. I know her by sight from seeing her out walking her dog and would say hello in passing. The location I will mention is the footpath that I joined at the entrance is at the end of Allotment Lane through the gateway. So that's the kissing gate, okay? Once on the path, it turns directly left and right, and I turned left. As you walk along, there is another gateway, and as you walk through there, it opens up into the field. On Friday of the 27th of January, I went to walk my dog. This was at about 08:50 hours. At the end of Allotment Lane, stood on the main road, was the man in black. He looked like he was waiting for a lift. As I continued along Allotment Lane and onto the footpath, as I got to the next gate near the bench, I passed male with dog, who was walking in the direction of Allotment Lane. Straight after the gate, I turned directly left and made my way round the outside of the field in a loop, making my way back to the riverbank. I got to the brick building. This is about 500 metres from the bench. At this point, I noticed Nicola at the other side of the field. My dog went to run up to hers, but I was in a rush, so I shouted my dog to come back. He didn't speak to Nicola because she was too far away to do so, and based on the length of my walk, I believe I would have seen her sometime between 9:10 and 9:20 a.m. I could see that she had her phone out in front of her, looking at the screen, which I've seen her do on previous walks. I could not hear or see if she was talking as she was too far away. As I continued to the very first gate at the end of Allotment Lane, I passed a female with dog, said a brief hi, and this is the lady that is there most days and seems to just stand talking to people and didn't appear to go into the field. As I got to the end of Allotment Lane, man in black was still there. I thought this was strange as I hadn't seen him the day before and had obviously been stood there for quite some time. He looked at me and said hi, and I just said hi back and carried on. He then dropped his dog off at home, got into his work van and drove past, and the man in black had gone. Once I found out Nicola had gone missing, I was thinking about the day some more, and on Monday I remembered about the man in black and thought I would tell the police as this could be useful. I would describe him as being in his 70s, tall with white hair, and a dog with a small type terrier. He's talking about someone else there, so I don't understand that bit.
Yeah, that's confusing.
Yeah, so this is he's talking about the man with a dog, walking his dog. So the man with the dog, I should correct that, is being in his 70s, tall with white hair, and a dog with a small white terrier. I reckon that is KB. I'm hoping people understand. If you don't, you will. He sees him a lot whilst walking the dog, and he lives in St Michael's, and he would describe that the female being in her 70s with a larger build and would describe her as a grandma type, and she has a white dog the size of a Springer Spaniel. She appeared on the local news on Monday the 30th January. The man in black was dressed all in black. It looked like he had black jeans, possibly a hoodie or short bomber type jacket, and I think he was wearing a beanie hat. He had a round face, and I wouldn't describe him as fat, but he was more stocky. He was 6'1", about 45 years old, and he would describe Nicola as younger than him, smaller in height, and she always wears a hat in winter. She was too far away from him that day to describe what clothing she was wearing. He's seen pictures of Nikki around on posters around the village and confirms that this is the same person. So that's Richard Fife. He was obviously at the inquest. He just had his statement that he made on the 1st of February read out.
All right, I've just sent a thing over to Joe and another map with some ideas of where people are. as well from that testimony, including the man in black, which is a little bit of elusive. We're not sure exactly where he was seen. We're just guessing. So just to give people an idea roughly,
Yeah,
that he was in the area. And again, the time on that, the time scale on that is that's between 9:10 and 9:20 a.m.
yeah. I hope I didn't read that too fast. There was a lot to read there.
No, that was good. That was from my end anyway. How's it sounding your end to everyone else, because you've got to listen to us?
But
It's all
yeah,
good.
as far as the man in black, I
just made a little icon
just
for him
think
as well.
it's, yeah, I think he was probably just someone going to work, to be honest. It was just too much of convenience.
He's not been identified though, has he? Nobody's
No.
actually said, oh, this person is,
Thank you, Amy.
yeah,
Thank you all.
given a name.
Right, the last bit I've got to read on my own is Claire C. I'm going to slap myself every time I do something like that. Okay, so she swears herself in. Yeah, CC swears herself in. Then Dr. Adley again asks her to tell him her full name and her profession. So she says her name, and she's a sales executive. That's done that twice for some reason. Then he says that he understands on the 27th of January, she was at St. Michael's on Wyre Primary School at about 8:35. And he asked her if she could tell him what happened and what interaction she had with Nikki. CC replied that she took her kids walking to school with her dog. They were pretty much on time. I think she was quite surprised by that. She was stood outside on the pavement outside the main entrance chatting to a couple of other mums. Once the kids had got in, one of the other mums had a young dog, and so they had the dogs together outside the school because they're trying to train them to be calm around other dogs. So it quieted down. There were still people milling around, and so she guessed about 8:40, which was officially the school gates closing time. Nikki walked past while she was still having a conversation with the other mums. And as Nikki always does, she bent down to give her dog a stroke. Dr. Adley asked if there's anything about that morning that was different. And she said, no, not at all. She just walked past, gave the dog a stroke like she normally does, and went off onto her walk.
Oh, good Mickey.
And then Dr. Adley asked, okay, I think you went for a walk after with your dog and saw Nikki again. Could you tell me where you was walking? She said, yeah. So she left the school and she walked. I've got to try and read this now because she was pointing at the map when she was there. So she walked down the tarmac over the bridge, walked down towards where PF's caravan site is, and then through the wooded area to the kissing gate. Once she got into the field, she could see a silhouette of Nikki and Willow approaching the gap in the hedgerow. So if you look at the field, there's, if you remember, when you're in the field, there's like that row of hedges in the middle. That's where she saw the silhouette of Nikki and Willow.
Hold on.
Just out of interest, if you were walking around both fields with one complete circuit, how long does it take? CC replies, probably takes about 15 to 20 minutes, which I would say is correct because we've done that. She did do the walk with an officer as well afterwards, and they did exactly the same time. And then Dr. Adley asked, where did you walk around the field and where did you see Nikki? So CC walked around the lower field. This lower field's the one by the bench. And as she walked up to the hedgerow, and it goes up a little bank. Obviously, if you're on the lower field where it rises up a little bit, you won't be able to see someone that's on the upper field because it's raised up. She walked around there and got a clear view.
So Nikki was in the higher field, the upper field, wasn't she? And then Miss CC was in the lower field, wasn't she? Nearer that would be where the bench and the brick house, etc. They're all on that field where she was walking.
Yeah, and as CC got up towards the upper field, which is the field that's higher up, she got a clear view of Nikki walking along the riverbank down towards the lower field. And he asked what Nikki was doing. Was the dog playing and running around? She said it looked absolutely idyllic from having a younger dog pulling on the lead. And she looked up and looked at Nikki with Willow and said that she would like her dog like that. Because obviously having a young dog, you know what it's like.
What time did she arrive at the area at then? She met Nikki at school at 8:40, so was it about 8:50 that she was saw Nikki again?
It actually doesn't say what time she arrived at the field. It just says what time she arrived at the school.
So we're guessing around about 8:50 then.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm just because I'm doing these map things, the timeline map, to try and place her roughly where Nikki was.
Yeah. Then Dr. Adley asked if Nikki had a ball with her and Willow. CC replied that she doesn't think that she did, because she wasn't stopping to pick anything up. They was just walking nicely. Dr. Adley asked, you continued to walk, so you was walking clockwise around both fields. Nikki is ahead of you. Where did she go after that? CC replied that she wasn't paying much attention, and so she can't really confidently say where Nikki went after that. She continued her loop and got to the section. She's pointed at the map again, which is the lower field. She referenced to Nikki because it was very quiet morning that morning, and she heard a dog barking, which prompted her to look up. And she looked up and saw Nikki, which is by the hedgerow again, and Willow was barking at the vegetation in the undergrowth. So she was a bit behind her. Dr. Adley asked if she knew what Willow was barking at or if there was anyone else around. She said she did not see anyone else at that stage, and only 5 minutes beforehand, she had walked past that section of hedgerow by herself and there was nothing there. So she can't say what Willow was barking at. Adley asked what time did she leave the field. She said she left the field, which she got picked up on CCTV. She left the field at estimated about 9:15, and the CC picked her up about approximately at 18 minutes past.
Right.
And that was it. So from that witness statement, it was very, very quiet around.
So that's between like sort of 8:50 to about 9:18 a.m. that they were around each other. Sorry, I'm just adding it on to here because I think it's easier sometimes to have a picture to have in your mind of where people are.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm just updating the time here so that we can. So it's 8:50 to 9:18.
I can look at the screen now. Sorry, guys, I was looking at a different screen.
She doesn't. So she doesn't say that she saw anyone else, does she? She doesn't make any reference to any men in black or any other people in the field.
Did RFC Penny? That was not mentioned. Actually, I think I missed something on that because it was mentioned somewhere. CC saw Penny. How did I miss that? She came down allotment lane to the area. And she could see Penny, the owner of PF, the owner of the caravan park, and she was pottering around in her shed with the dog, and that's all she saw. And that was at 9:15.
So I can add PF into that then if she said that one as well. Then we can.
I should really put my glasses on when I'm reading that.
I just pop her. I don't know. Put her under a bed. I'll do it. So that and that was as Miss CC was heading towards allotment lane, isn't it?
Yeah,
she would have passed
it in the field,
PF. So yeah.
So
get that one across to you now. Sorry, just
next up on the witness statement.
Guys, in chat, are these maps helping or are they just confusing you even more? Let us know.
Yeah, so the next interview is lovely PF, which everyone should know.
Yep.
So let me know when you've got yours up. If you read Adley's, and then I can be PF.
Cool. So he basically says, good afternoon, Mrs. F. Could you state for the record your name and your occupation? And so she gives her full name, and she states that she's a campsite proprietor. Sorry, I'm reading parts of it. So
just like to say, this was done over video call. PF wasn't actually at the inquest; it was done by video call.
So they're referring to the map, and it is a campsite yours. Can you see it on the map? Basically, it's on the screen.
Yes.
Yeah. And then Dr. Adley asks, where's your campsite, please? Radio pointing at your screen. Can you see that? And he marvels at the modern technology, as we often do.
She's pointing at a screen. So
and he has
she
to
said,
describe it.
Well, as you come down allotment lane from the main road, you fork off to the left. You will see a thatched cottage, and that's where her campsite is.
Okay, is that where a series of white oblongs on the left-hand side are?
And she put, yes, that's correct. It says.
And that's your campsite. And on the 27th of January, I think that you were there going about your business and taking the dog for a walk. Can you explain what the weather was like on that day, please?
And she replied, it was cold and clear.
Okay, and what time did you take your dog out, please?
She said approximately 9:30 she left.
And where were you going?
And then she said that she fed her hens. So as you walk out the campsite, you've got two ways to go. You can go left, which takes you through the wooded area, and you can go straight across, which takes you via the weir. So she went straight on past the weir, and this is what they call Hughes, which obviously Adley's going to ask as well in a minute. So the river was always on her right-hand side.
Yeah. So, all right, so tell me if I'm going wrong, but you come out the caravan park and then you go straight on, and then that's you walking down around the bottom, around the bend of the river, down, and the towards the official word at the bottom is Hughes. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so that's called Hughes.
Yeah.
So how long does it take you to walk from your caravan park round to the bench where you found the dog?
And she replied, under 10 minutes.
Dr. Adley asks, was she alone? That walk, did you have anyone with you, and did you see anyone?
And PF replied that she didn't see anyone at all.
Now that you, when you approach the gate and you've seen the pictures, and there's a grey metal swinging gate in the middle that you walk around, and then close to the gate behind you, there's a bench just beyond it. Could you tell me what you found on the other side of the gate, please?
This is where PF corrects him that she wasn't on that side of the gate. As she walked around the river with the right hand on her right hand side, you come across a wooden stile, which she calls the fisherman stile. The metal gate would be on her left, and that's called the kissing gate. And when you come, that's when you come to the end of the wooded area. So she didn't go that way, but as she come around the bend by the river and come to the stile, the first thing she done was tie her dog up. Then she climbed over the stile and see this Springer Spaniel loose.
And where was the dog loose? Dr. Adley asks.
Well, it was near the bench, and it was going slight on the right hand side towards the river, where it drops down very steeply. That's what she replied.
And Dr. Adley says, was it running backwards and forwards between the bench and the river? What was it doing?
She just said it wasn't running around doing anything chaotically. It was just running about, and it was a bit giddy.
And then Dr. Adley says, okay, yes, that's because it's a spaniel. I think you obviously know spaniels.
And she replied,
then
yes,
Dr.
exactly.
Adley goes across to ask that you came across the stile in the dog. What else did you see as you got across the stile?
This is where Penny was like, I climbed over the stile. I saw what I saw apart from the dog. I saw a mobile phone on the bench. And then she saw between the bench and the river, she saw a bundle in the grass. And she thought, oh, I wonder what that is. And walked down towards it. And it was one of those dog harnesses things.
Okay. And Dr. Adley said, was it clean? Or had it just been dropped? Or has it been stepped on? Or didn't you take any notice? Did you notice anything?
And she said, I didn't really take any notice, to be honest. It was just a bundle on the grass.
And then Dr. Adley asks, what does she do then?
And then I'm really trying my hardest not to read this out in a funny voice.
It's so hard to paraphrase, isn't it? Yeah.
So she put, right. So she was worried about the dog because she was in a hurry because she had that appointment in Garstang. And she hadn't had time to take the dog with hers. but then she said that her dog might have had a fight with it anyway. So she tied the dog to the bench. Then she got her dog, walked home as quickly as she could through the wood. This was not by the river this time. This was through the wood. I could hear myself. Stop it. And straight home. She had a look at the dog collar, and she recalled that there was a mobile number there, and it also said Moy, which she knows is a local vet in the area. So she hurried home as quickly as she could. The first thing she'd done was phoned a friend of hers called RJ, who walks along the river every day with his dog, because she knew he would know what to do to find out who the dog belongs to. She also phoned the mobile number that she remembered, but she must have got a digit wrong because it didn't ring. Then she says she phoned the vets and they didn't want to know and wasn't interested. So she just put the phone down on them in the end because they wasn't very helpful.
Yeah. And then she spoke to her daughter-in-law as well.
Yep.
I think she called her daughter-in-law to come out as well to assist with Mr. RJ. I'm just reading down here now. Just it's so hard to when you paraphrase it. And then Dr. Adley wanted to know how did PF tie the dog up to the bench, as in, like, what did she use to do that?
And she said she had some binding twine in her pockets because she gave the hay she gave the sheep some hay that morning.
And she basically had that in her pocket. The mobile. So it's Dr. Adley asked about the mobile phone. Was it active? Was it anything?
She replied that it was lit up. She described this pretty well. Horizontal line in the middle, and there was a circle either side, and there was a man's name in each one. But she couldn't tell you what the name was because she had forgotten.
And Dr. Adley just wanted to know if there was any sounds coming from the phone.
And she replied, no, nothing.
So now you call your friend RJ. Who answered the phone?
She replied that SJ answered the phone. So that's the spouse of RJ. And that she had told her what had happened. And she replied that obviously RJ had already left, but he's got his mobile phone with him, so she could call him and explain about the dog, and that RJ would sort it out for her.
And Dr. Adley just asked, did SJ pass on the message?
She said yes, she took the message and she said she'd speak to him.
Right. Okay, at this point, what did you do? He asks, you had an appointment to go to in Garstang. What did you do, basically?
She replied that she got in the car and called her daughter-in-law, which is AMF, and told her what happened, and said like she was in a rush because she got the appointment to get to, and said that she's hoping that RJ would sort it out. And then she went to her appointment in Garstang. On the way back, she stopped off on Allotment Lane, spoke to her daughter-in-law, which is AMF, and said, she hopes everything's all right, and that RJ had sorted out the dog. And AMF replied, no, it's Nikki's dog, and Nikki's gone missing.
So it was at that stage when they identified that Willow belongs to Nikki, wasn't it? So,
yeah.
And Dr. Adley then asks, about timings. So he wanted to know what time she left out. Was it around 9:30 a.m.? So would you have been basically crossing the stile and seen the dog at about 9:40?
And she said, yes. Yeah, probably.
Sorry, I just got an emergency going on with me cat at the moment. She's coughing. I will be back in.
It's all right. I'll carry on. And then Dr. Adley replied, so about 9:45-ish. And she put, yeah, that sort of time, yeah. He asked if she made her appointment in Garstang and what time it was. She said it was at 10:30, and she made the appointment.
Panic over.
That's right.
So
we're on Dr. Adley. So all of this took place at 9:40 at the earliest. Finding the dog, the phone, and finding the lead. Is that correct? Which PF replied that she didn't find a lead. There wasn't a lead there. There was a harness, but she definitely didn't find a lead.
Right. So is that what time the appointment was at?
No, go down a bit.
10:30. 10:30. The hearing test. Sorry.
We're about the lead.
It's crazy in this house trying to get anything done. There's always drama. Oh dear me. Sorry. Right. I'll just get my mouse.
And then Dr. Adley asked that obviously she saw the harness but no lead. And she said, I couldn't see a lead. She said it could have been under the harness. She doesn't know because they're quite large, but she didn't see a lead. I will read the comment in a minute, guys.
Dr. Adley says, so during the course of the time that you were walking around, they refer to Hughes Crossing again, and tying up the dog and walking back up to where she lived at the caravan park. Did she see anyone else in the wooded area?
She said that she did. She was tying Willow up to the bench and she saw a man walking from where the brick building was, further up the riverbank. He was walking towards her. She tied the dog up and she said to him what she was doing, that she was just tying the dog up, and said, I hope no idiot comes and unties it. And he just laughed apparently and chuckled.
And Dr. Adley wanted to know, did she recognise this man?
And she said she didn't. She didn't know him at all.
And then Dr. Adley asked for a description of him.
She said he must have been at least 6 foot, very well built, not fat, just very well built. He must have been in his 70s. He had a light-coloured, fluffy dog with him. But by the time she tied the dog up and spoke to him and turned around to go through the woods, he had turned around and gone back. She believes that he lives in Rowan Water. She has since learnt.
So Dr. Adley thanks, and he says, just out of interest, when you crossed the stile with your dog, was there anything that upset your dog in any way that would cause your dog any distress?
And she said, no, nothing whatsoever. But she tied her dog up to the side, but there was nothing at all.
And then Dr. Adley just says, is there anything further she's thought of that she hasn't had the opportunity to ask?
And she replied that she doesn't think so, and she thinks that covers everything.
And she's duly thanked and dismissed.
Miss Cartwright.
Oh no, she's not. Sorry, no, we've got Cartwright, haven't we, as well? Shall I
Yeah.
be Miss Cartwright then? So she's passed over to Miss Cartwright, who is Nikki's family solicitor, basically, working on behalf of the family. So she says, it's pleased to meet you. And she just goes back to the harness, and you described how you came upon the dog, Willow, and can you just clarify where you found the harness and how you described it in your witness statement, please?
So PF replies, right, let's see what I said. And then she put, it's between the riverbank, so between the bench and the river, river's edge. So she would say it was halfway between there. There was quite a bit of grass. It was winter. So she just didn't know. She wondered, what's that? And it just looked like a bundle or something. So she walked up and realised it was the dog harness.
And then I think that's
I think she goes on.
So it's mentioned the Mrs. F, in your witness statement, you said it could have I could see it between the bench and the river on a steep slope, going down the river, an object, and as it gets closer, it becomes apparent what it is as a dog harness.
And she said, yep, that's correct.
That's good. I think you've confirmed everything. You don't recall seeing a lead?
And she replied, no, I don't. I didn't see a lead.
And then can you assist us with this, because you came late, came to know later that it was a harness. I think then back on the bench with the phone, are you saying you were sorry?
Yeah, when RJ arrived at the bench later.
I get you now. Yeah. So do you recall if the harness was moved onto the bench or not? Can you assist us any further today?
And PF replied, she doesn't. She's absolutely sure that she didn't move the harness. She just left it there. She's sure she didn't even touch it. Certainly didn't move it onto the bench.
And then it's just due thanks from between Penny and Miss Cartwright. So that's the evidence comes to an end. There's a funny little thing where they thought they were switched off at one stage. I think she was getting help because she was video linking into the courtroom as well.
Yeah, they thought they turned it off, and she started talking. They had to cut it off very quickly.
Yeah, that was a little bit amusing. So anyway, that what should we do now? Should we have a look at the everyone in chat?
Yeah,
feedback.
We still got SJ to go through, RJ to go through, and
I need to just try and get the times up here when Mrs. PF was there. So she was there around.
She said she left at 9:30, approximately 9:30.
9:30 to 9:45.
Yeah. Well, she said she left home at 9:30, and her and Dr. Adley kind of worked out that she arrived at the bench at 9:45. That's from the inquest statements. So, right, sorry guys. It's hard to look at the chat because we have to look at a different screen on the chat for the inquest.
Look at the star.
Star.
Yeah.
No, they didn't really. They just said that they found her Mercedes car keys on her and the Fitbit. They didn't reveal what she still had on, if there was any boots or anything missing.
put question on screen which you're answering.
Agent of Shields. Hi there. I think one of you went to the inquest and chatted with the man at the end while you were filming the police statement. What's this man? Did he have a lip ring and an earring in both ears? No. No, it wasn't. That guy was there, but that wasn't him.
So we've got an unidentified man, haven't we, with Penny as well? So I just need to find, where did she say he was? Was he walking up towards Allotment Lane?
Oh no, you're talking about the guy that saw PF tying Willow to the bench. I believe that was KB. You know, yes. Remember right at the beginning when there was a witness that said that they heard Willow barking, and then his wife come out and said, no, he got the day wrong. He got it all mixed up. That's KB.
I'll put him down as KB.
Okay. 14. Do you remember Adley asked Penny if her dog behaved oddly? I think we just went through that, 14. She said that her dog didn't react badly or anything at all when she got near, but she had tied her dog up just before she went over the stile. Patterdale, just occurred to me, did the inquest reveal what Nicola was wearing? No, just literally had her Mercedes car keys on her, and she had her Fitbit watch. Nothing else was actually said about what was found on her. Nothing about whether there was a boot missing. It just basically said that. Can you clarify, ladies? PF called. It's a bit of a confusing one, that, Mickey, because in the statement she said that she spoke to AMF literally as she was leaving for her appointment. But I will be going through that at the end. It will all make sense. There's some stuff I need to bring up at the end of this.
Yeah, I think what we're going to do is go through the testimony from the inquest, and then we're going to compare it to media. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, sorry, I was just muted again, just sorting a cat emergency out. The cat decided to attack all my wires on the computer, so she's been sent out now. She's fine. You know, kids and cats, and they panic when something's wrong with the cat. She does have a drink of water, but she's fine. But yeah, we've just done another sheet up, and another map, and the map's helping you guys, or shall I not bother, or does it help visualize who was there when?
Martin Clark, isn't there a difference between the colour of harness and the lead? So why did PF not pick up the colour of the lead? Would have stood out clearly to everyone. Yeah, it just wasn't asked, was it? Clearly at the end of the day. Hi, Gail. Yeah, there's from listening to that. Obviously, I've had to listen to it a very few times, because the more you listen to it, the more you pick things up, different things and discrepancies everywhere. So they said the map's helping, Jen. Which I will be going through what I've picked up at the end of this. Obviously, we wanted to do the get the witness statements out to you first, so you could kind of hear and then understand what we are going to bring you at the end. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, so we'll go through the facts of the coroner's inquest, and then we'll talk about other stuff that you may have heard in the media where there might be a contradiction.
They said when she went missing, Nikki had a necklace on. Never had it. Heard of it. Was it? No, Lynn. Never been told. Never been told.
That definitely didn't come up, is it?
Yeah. So the next lot we're going to read out to you is SJ. So
SJ. Martin, I have to say, Martin, big thank you. You are a superstar. You know why. Thank you. Yeah, he's been, honest to God, he's been my little hero of the hour today.
Yeah.
Get me some information that I was desperate for. You know when you think you're going mad looking for information? So,
There's a lot of information I remember seeing, though, that isn't out there no more. And it winds me up because I know it's there and I know I've read it and I can't find it. And
that's
annoying.
right. It's still been deleted, hasn't it? It's crazy. It's there one minute, gone the next. I think there's been a bit of a cull on the information.
Yeah.
Right. Let me just go. So right. Yeah. So we've got Mrs. SJ now.
Yeah. Are you still okay to do Adley?
Do you want me to, yeah, that's fine.
So obviously Susan Jones swears. I am going to hit myself in a minute. SJ swears herself in.
Yeah. So let's just swear by God Almighty and the Sovereign Lord of the King. So Dr. Ridley is aware of some hearing difficulties, so he basically acknowledges those, and could she let him know? And he asked her to confirm her occupation.
Which she does.
Yes, are you retired? She's retired.
She says her name, and then she says she is retired. And then she said that her occupation, that she used to work in a care home.
Yeah. So Mr. Ridley says that on the morning of the 27th of January, you had a call. Can you tell me about who called you and what time?
And she says she received a call from PF saying that she found a dog wandering loose and that she had tied it up to the bench, and the one that was near the metal gate, and asked if Roger would go down and sort the dog out as she had an appointment at Garstang.
And Dr. Ridley wanted to know roughly what time that telephone call took place.
And she said it was around 5:10.
Dr. Ridley says that he refers to her statement, which made it much closer to the time on the 30th in your witness statement you made on the so 3 days after the event. It was between 10 and 10:05. So it just confirms, is that correct? Is it between 10 and 10:05? Yeah, in her recollection.
She just answered yes. Yeah.
And what did you say you would do?
She said that she would ring Roger because he's up the river with his mobile, because he had already set off on his walk, and that's what she did.
And Dr. Ridley asks if her husband usually goes for a walk by himself, and does he have a dog? How does he normally walk the dog?
And she said, yeah, he has a dog, or they have a dog themselves.
And Dr. Ridley says, so RJ, he's the man in the leather jacket, and he has your dog with him. What's it called?
And she replied it was Jet, and that Jet has now passed away.
And Dr. Ridley passes on his condolences. And what did you do when you got off the phone from Mrs. PF?
And she said that she tried to ring RJ but couldn't get through because he was trying to ring her to say that he found this dog tied up to the bench.
And then Dr. Ridley wanted to know roughly what time that was.
She replied, I think she misheard him then, because she replies that he was there and he said there was a phone on the bench as well, but he doesn't know how to work it because he's not very technical minded. So he had asked her if she would go up and have a look at the phone to see who it belongs to.
And how long did it take you to reach your husband?
She said because she was walking quite fast that she would say it took around 10 to 15 minutes.
And so I believe that you were on the phone at this time on your phone to your husband. It was about 12 minutes past 10, and you take 15 minutes to walk, so you arrive roughly about 10:30. Is that right?
She said it sounded something like that. She actually bumped into a friend. I'm just going to say N here because we don't know her last name. Who was just on the corner of the main road and said, she said that she explained the situation, what was going on, and N asked if she wanted to go with her. And she said, yes, if you want to.
And then Dr. Adley just asked, so did you all arrive at the bench? And what did you do then? Sorry, when did you arrive? When and what did you
do? She said, well, they walked up Allotment Lane and up the slight incline through the wooded area, and RJ was waiting at the bench.
And then the coroner asks, what did you do then? And did you examine the mobile phone? And did you make any calls?
Yeah, some of these questions might be repeated because obviously they was a bit hard of hearing. So she actually saw the dog tied up at the bench facing her as she come through the metal gates, and it was tied up with some yellow baling string, and there was a phone on the bench with a dog harness. She said it was a blue one, she thinks.
The coroner wanted to know, was the phone active? Was it working?
She replied, no. She picked the phone up but couldn't get it into it because it had a lock. But when it lit up, it showed Paul's family and his children.
So you recognise the picture of the people?
And she replied that she didn't know them, but Roger knew who it was, but we didn't know where they lived or anything.
Okay, so your husband recognised.
I've just said the name again, and
it's all right.
And she replied, yes, he recognised PA.
Yeah. So, what did you do after that, please?
So she said that she picked the phone up to try and find out the owner of the phone, but couldn't get into it. So she thought about, she put the dog harness back on the dog, because she didn't know that anyone had gone missing at that point, and she thought she'd take it for a walk down Allotment Lane to the garage where her friend works to see if she could identify whose dog it was. Because she works facing the main road, there's always people walking past. So she thought that because of that, her friend might be able to recognise who it belonged to.
And did you find out who the dog belonged to? The coroner asked.
And then she replied that they got halfway down Allotment Lane and bumped into AMF. That's PF's daughter-in-law. She was coming out the drive and she just come up to her and asked her if that's the dog. So she assumed that she already knew about what's going on.
And then the coroner's asking, okay, sorry, so run it past me again. Who came out and who said it's that dog?
And she replied, AMF, that's PF's daughter-in-law.
It's so repetitive because of there is some hearing difficulties in court. So the daughter-in-law, so what happened next? And what did you say to AMF?
She replied that she showed her the phone and the picture on the front, and AMF said she knows who that is, and she rang the school.
So Dr. Oakley says it. So I believe she says she knew who that is, and that's Nikki.
Where have you gone? Oh yeah.
She's got children at the same school.
She replied that yes, because her children go to the same school as Nikki's.
And then Susan said that she spoke to someone at school and she got through. And then Dr. Oakley asks, so what happened then? Did you get a call back?
Yeah, then she replied that AMF was dealing with it. She wasn't sure whether she phoned PA, but she was on the phone to someone, and when she come off the phone, she turned round and said that she's struggling.
Okay, in your witness statement, what you say is that you showed AMF a picture on your phone, on the phone, and she says, "I know who that is. That's Nicola," said AMF, and then called the local school straight away, and so that they could contact her partner, who's PA, and she talked to Mrs. Green. Who is Mrs. Green, please?
And she replied that she didn't know. She's the secretary or the headmistress. She didn't know who this Mrs. Green was at the school.
And then after she spoke to the call, AMF, after he called the school rang AMF back to say that PA was on his way. Does that sound the right way it happened?
She replied, yes, that sounds right.
And then at one point, AMF was on a fourth phone call to PA. When she came off the phone, AMF said that PA had said she was struggling.
And SJ replied that she was assuming it was PA that she was talking to, but because she's hard of hearing, she couldn't hear it.
Yeah. Okay, and then the coroner just said he believes that PA arrived shortly after that. Did he?
And she replied, about 10 minutes after the phone call, she thinks AMF actually took the dog off her by that point, when they bumped into him, and she started walking back down Allotment Lane and took the dog back up the wooded area, and they all followed.
And the coroner asks, during this time, were you were there about 10:15, and you've walked out your house and down to the stile, and then you were walking back down Allotment Lane. Did you see anyone acting suspiciously, or anyone else who was just in the area?
And she replies that she can't recall anyone.
And Dr. Oakley thanks her. Is there anything further that you think I should have needed to ask, but I haven't?
And then she said that when she picked the harness up to put it on Willow, which Willow was okay with, they fastened it. She undid the twine off from the bench and they started to walk off, but the dog wouldn't move. And she realised when the dog turned round that on the left-hand side facing her there was a retractable lead hanging, so they used that to walk the dog, and then she just moved no problem.
And the coroner says, "Oh, sorry. So, where was the retractable lead?"
She replied, it was clipped onto the top of the harness, but it was hanging down the left side. Where she was looking at the dog, she couldn't see it, but when the dog turned, so the left-hand side of where I was facing her, that's when she realised that the lead was attached to the harness.
And then the coroner just reiterates that basically, yeah, you noticed the retractable lead was hanging from the harness then after you attached the harness to the dog.
And she replied, yeah, but it was all closed up. So it wasn't, the lead wasn't out the retractable harness. The harness was closed right to the end.
Yeah. And then the coroner just thanks and asks for, again, if there is anything else that he ought to have asked that he hasn't.
And she replied, no, not that I can think of.
That's great. And then he passes over to Miss Cartwright, so I'll be Miss Cartwright too. So she just wants to briefly thanks for confirming that the lead was attached to the harness. But can you assist us? I'll have a little read. So yeah, so she just thank you for confirming that the lead was attached to the harness. Are you able to assist us at all? I've told us, or you've told us that you went to the bench at the time, and your husband was there. Can you recall where the dog harness was when you got to the area by the bench?
And she just said that the dog lead was attached to the harness, but she hadn't spotted it when she put it on the dog at the time.
And do you recall the whereabouts of the dog harness? Was it on the bench?
And she said, yes, it was on the bench next to the phone.
And Miss Cartwright then goes on to ask, so I can see you've mentioned the time when PA arrived. Do you remember when PA was handed the phone, him saying something to the effect that the phone was still connected to a Zoom call?
And she recalls that when she passed him the phone, she told him there was 3 messages on it, or something, and he knew the password and unlocked it.
And then basically Mrs. SJ is just thanked by Dr. Aidley and Miss Cartwright and dismissed.
Yep, so the next one is RJ, which is the
So
spouse.
this is her husband. So
Yes,
so
he swears
thanks
himself in.
He's all sworn in, and then he's thanks for coming very much to come and give evidence. It's sorry, I'm reading it here. He's just talking to Mrs. J at the moment. So
yeah, so his name is RJ.
He confirms his name was RJ. Just confirming he's not speaking too fast. All these, the niceties that you have in court. The general stuff, and then he confirms. So, are you married to Mrs. SJ, who's just given evidence? Now, could you go to Friday, the 27th of January? Is that okay?
Yeah, he said he's absolutely fine because he can hear now or understand more.
So,
then Dr. Hadley moves himself. Yeah, Dr. Hadley moves himself, but he's worried about the audio.
Yeah, there's a lot of technical stuff going on as well. He's just saying that basically that the tech guys are sorting out equipment, and he's moved to an area where things can be heard a little bit better. on Friday the 27th, what was the understanding that you went for the dog walk with your dog, Jet?
And he replied, as I do every morning. Yes.
And he was asked what time he left the house.
He said 9:45, which is 9:45.
And which way do you go?
So he always says he joins from where the Grapes pub is. There's a little walkway. It's like Allotment Lane, but it's further down. So he goes through the Grapes car park, and then he joins onto the riverbank and the river path, and he walks up the wooded area towards the kissing gate where the bench is.
Okay, so you're walking sort of along Garstang Road, that he just confirms.
Yes, opposite the garage.
And as you approach this through the great kissing gate, or are you coming through a different gate?
He replies that he still goes through the same gate from the north side of the car park at the Grapes car park, and the path takes you to the riverbank, and it's the same track that everyone takes up to the river.
And Dr. Ridley just confirms, so this takes you about 5 minutes to walk from Garstang Road to the bench.
Whereas he just replies, yeah, possibly, yeah.
Maybe a bit more. And when what did you find when you got to the bench, please?
You actually do sound like Dr. Radley there. Sorry. So he said he opened the kissing gate, and to the right is the bench. And he found it quite bizarre because there was a mobile phone and a dog harness, and the dog, later known as Willow, was tied to the bench. My initial thoughts that someone got caught short, and had to go to the bushes. So he continued maybe about 15 meters further up by the brick building. And he's like, something's strange here, something's not right, because there was no sign of anybody. So at that point, he phoned his wife, and she was trying to phone him, and that's how they got in contact with each other.
And the coroner just asked, what did his wife tell him to do? What did your wife say?
And he replied, she actually said, do you want me to come? Because she's more savvy with the mobile phones than he is. So she asked if she'd like him to come up and join him, and which she did.
And the coroner just confirms, I believe the time you call was about 12 minutes past 10.
He replied, that's correct. It was recorded on the phone, so that's accurate.
And the coroner says that he understands that he carried on his dog walk.
And he said that, again, he was pointed at the map here that they had at the inquest. So he said he got to about the red brick building and then continued round to what is known as the Fiddle Neck, which is the lower part of the lower field.
And did you see anyone during that?
He put, no, not a soul.
And when you picked the phone up, was it still connected? Was it doing anything? Was there anything on the screen, or was it just all blank?
He said that he's not sure. But when SJ picked the phone up, the wallpaper on it showed a picture of which he recognised Paul. But he doesn't think it was live because PA had to put a PIN number in it.
And the coroner just confirms, so you don't think you knew his name was PA, but you just recognised him from the dog walking?
Yeah, he replied, agreed that, yeah, he recognised him from a number of occasions that they've walked along the river and he's seen him, but he doesn't actually know who he is.
So the coroner then goes on to ask, I think all the remaining questions have been answered by your wife, and I don't think they need to be answered again. So I'm going to ask you again, is there anything further that you think I ought to have asked but I haven't?
And he replied, no, I think we've covered everything. It's just a simple course of events.
And then Dr. Adley passes over to Miss Cartwright, who is the Bully family's solicitor, and
she doesn't have anything to ask.
There's no further information, no further questioning. So that's I think they're both relieved from their duties. So are we going to go on to the next person?
Yeah, Helen H-O-N.
Yeah. So for everyone, they basically they have to swear in. Every single person has to swear in for the sovereign of our king, and they all do that. I think we'll miss all that part out because it's just boring. Go through all that all the time. So he confirms the HON's full name. She gives the full name, and he asks what her occupation is, and I understand that you're dropping your children off on the 27th of January, and do you know Nikki from there, and did you see her there as well?
She replies that she was speaking to other friends on the other side of the car park. One of her friends was sat in the car, and she noticed Nikki on the corner of her eyes. On the other side of the car park, she didn't really think anything of it because it's fairly normal for Nikki to be getting the dog out of the car. But she didn't recall anything because obviously she was talking to her friends at the time.
And then Dr. Adley asks, was there anything unusual that she was aware of? And now I think of it as well, he just confirms the time. It's just after 8:40. And she confirms it was. And then you're reasonably sure about the time. I only asked because the school gates close around that time. So the school must close the gates at 8:40.
Yeah, she just said that she got there just before 8:40. The gate was just shut in. And then she was in the car park talking to some friends.
And then the coroner just confirms that she went home about 10 minutes later.
She said, yeah, roughly.
And then tell me what happened when you got home.
Then she just went through that she got home. She had a dentist appointment in Lancaster at 10:40. She planned on leaving about 10, but her dog has just had puppies. They had 10 puppies the week before. So she asked if she was having something to eat quickly and was texting her neighbour next door to confirm that her or her husband was going to be coming to the house at 10 to sit with the dog and puppies. While she went out for her appointment. She checked her messages, and the message to the neighbour was at 9:34, just to say thank you because she confirmed that they was going to go around and sit with the dogs. She remembers pressing send to the message, and she was standing out the back to let the dogs out. And as she went out, she followed them into the back garden to clear up after them. So it was about 9:35.
And then she's asked what happened next, please.
She says she was just walking around the garden and she heard her scream. It wasn't an alarming noise. It was over in a couple seconds. She's quite used to hearing like screaming and stuff because she's so close to the school, but it wasn't break time. But it didn't make her think twice about the scream. She just presumed, like she pictured like two teenage girls, one jumping out at the other. It was like that sort of a scream, like a fright, high to low. But she says it was over in seconds and it wasn't alarming. She didn't think it was alarming because if she felt it was alarming, she would have gone out to investigate what it is. And then after speaking to Nikki's dad and sister later on that day, she started thinking about it. And like it reminded her about the scream, so she just recalled what happened, what she heard.
That's it. And then the coroner just asked her to confirm whereabouts she lives and where did she hear the scream coming from.
She just basically explains that her garden backs onto allotment lane. Again, she goes through the map. Yeah, so they go through the map when they're there trying to point where her garden backs onto, which we obviously can't. And then she says she was fairly certain that the noise was in between the path that joins allotment lane and the bridge. And she says as she's used to hearing noise from the school, she was fairly certain that it was two teenagers messing around on the river path. And there was no sound after.
And the coroner so confirms the direction. I'm sorry to press you. You're in a different. The press are in a different room, so can't see the laser point. So he's just acknowledging what's going on in that courtroom at the time. I think he's referring to the map that they're looking at that the press can't see. In the area highlighted and the dotted line at the side of the bridge crossing the river and up to the ends of the buildings on the path. Is that correct?
Yeah, no, she just says where the footpath joins the bridge and where the bridge and the gate is, that's where the dotted line goes off down towards the caravan park.
And then Dr. Hoagley says it's classic. Thank you very much. Is there any questions that you think I should have asked but I haven't?
She says that she doesn't think so, but she will say about the timing, she could be fairly certain that that's when a white van that she noticed was about 10 o'clock going down allotment lane, because she was speaking to her neighbour in the kitchen, and then that's the point the dog started barking. The dog apparently barks at anything that goes past like Big, which is higher than the fence.
That's fine. And then basically Dr. Hoagley then passes over to Miss Cartwright. And I don't think there's any further questions. It's the next person, isn't it, after that?
Yeah, so the next person is VC. She's also known as an NC as well.
Yeah.
It's confusing. So she swears herself in. Dr. Adley again asks her her full name and what her occupation is. So she says her full name, which is BNC. She's a housewife and club secretary for the village tennis club.
So the coroner asks, think back to the Friday the 27th and you dropped your kids off at school. Did you see Nikki in a car park? And could you tell me about that, please?
Yeah, she just said that she dropped her youngest off at school and walked back to the car, was due to have a meeting at the tennis club at 9. But she didn't want to go in too early, so she was just sitting in the car, and she saw Nikki. They're dressed and ready to go for a dog walk. They didn't actually interact with each other. She just noticed that she was there.
And Dr. Agley just asks, there's nothing to say she wasn't doing anything unusual. Did she look upset or distracted by anything?
And she just says she didn't look anything. She looked vacant, but that wasn't unusual.
And when you say vacant, that's not unusual.
No real emotions, no sadness, no happiness, just normal.
But so basically, you're going for your dog walk, and you're just getting on with your stuff. Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much every morning.
It's fine. And in terms of the meeting, in terms of the meeting you attended, how long did that last for?
She said that it lasted about 40 minutes. They know that they overran somebody's coaching time by 10 minutes, and she was very conscious of that.
And the coroner asked, so she arrived, so you do some jobs in a clubhouse, and then you get in your car about what time?
She said 9:50.
9:50. And at this time, is there anyone else around the tennis club, or where the tennis club is on the picture?
So she points with the laser pen where the tennis club is. They can't actually see it, but she points to the security icon that's there.
I think they're just talking about laser pointers now. They're just ascertaining where it is on the pointer in the courtroom. So it's just down at the bottom after the bridge. Was there anyone else at the tennis club? She's asked.
And she confirms that there was the coach, which is MC, and the person that he was due to coach, which was Thomas Higgs.
And then she's asked, what happened then? You return to your car, and that happens at...
She said she left them. They was playing on the court, so she got to a car. And as she got to the car, she just heard a scream, a very short scream. Her immediate thought that someone was having a bit of fun in the graveyard, and she just got in her car and drove off.
Sorry, this makes me laugh there. A bit of fun in the graveyard. It just sounds a bit saucy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Which graveyard? The coroner asked her to clarify.
Yeah, so she points like where the graveyard is on the map.
And then the coroner goes on to say that the tennis club that's pictured on the bottom of the photograph that they've got up there, across the road bridge across the river, and you pointed slightly further north, would that be up in the direction towards Garstang Road?
She replied that she knew it was at the back. It was towards the back of the churchyard. So in the direction, she said she thinks in her statement, she said about 1 o'clock from where she was stood in the car park.
And then Dr. Radley says, so was it you say somebody was having some fun, that sort of scream, was that a sort of scream that concerned you?
And she replied, no, it wasn't that sort of scream. It would be
Sorry,
don't make me laugh. It would be what I would do if my husband walked on me when I was in the middle of my own thoughts in the house and he suddenly walked in the room.
Something of a surprise.
An element of surprise, yes. I thought I was going to get through that then.
So she's thanked and passed over to Miss Cartwright. Miss Cartwright says no, thank you, no further questions. And Miss VC is thanked and dismissed.
So yeah, that's the witness statements.
Yep. So because the next person we've got up here is Senior Investigating Officer Rebecca Smith, but I think should we leave that one for a different day?
Yeah, but I do want to go over that in a second, because obviously something I'm going to bring up in a minute.
Could you go
yes,
over
yes, I know what you mean.
Yeah. So right, let's look at the questions. We've got some starred questions here. Why was KB not on camera entering the field, but is on camera returning from the walk? What time did he start his walk? That was actually brought up on the COP. Let me just have a look. I've got that written down.
Yeah, we're using the COP and the College of Police's report as a kind of secondary source of information, because a lot of information is missing from the coroner's report. So any gaps that we've got, we are trying to fill with information that's given on the COP report. So
yeah,
so there's a lot of it.
Seen leaving Rowan Water at 9:35. Agent of Shields, can I ask Eddie why he said Chris had a lip ring and earrings? I've never heard that, Agent of Shield. Never heard that in my life. I've never even. Have you heard Eddie say that?
A lip ring? Chris has a
lip ring and earrings.
No.
No.
Not heard
Lynn,
that. I'm sorry.
why would nobody check the river or even start looking around and calling Nikki's name? That would seem the logical thing to do. Exactly. This confuses me.
That's a really, really good point.
Yeah. And
I always say with this, what would you do? What would you do if you was in that situation? If you had found, a phone and a dog on a bench near a river, would you not just turn your attention to look over your shoulder and look at the river and, just examine it yourself? Well,
they say PF remembered the number on the tag, walked home, but must have got one digit wrong. Okay, so it says that she's looked at this dog tag. RJ and SJ are at the river with Willow. Why did they not look at the dog tag? Why did they not ring the number on the dog tag?
That's something pretty obvious to do, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the first thing you do when you find a dog. You look at the dog tag. Yeah. Oh, there's a number there. Let's ring this.
Well, I found a dog once. It was Rowan. It didn't have a dog tag. It has a collar with no dog tag on it. But all I did was I put a post up on the community Facebook page with a photo of the dog and said, "Does anyone know whose dog this is?" Yeah, and within minutes, literally minutes, we'd identified the dog, and the owner was with us. And about 15 minutes later, I just put the dog inside my car. And the dog sat in my car quite happily. And then the very, very, very relieved owner arrived and thanked us immensely. I'd never met the owner before, but other people who were on the community page did. So yeah, things can get sorted out so easily.
Yeah,
but you just think, look in the river. Wouldn't you just have a little look? Not one person has said, "Have a little look in the river." None of them mentioned that.
No. Bridget Blaine said she still left the same thoughts as she originally had, that the phone had made its way to the bench, not telling you how it got there. Exactly. This, when it all first come out, I don't know if you remember, they've always said at 9:20 the phone made its way to the bench.
The
This
phone's
is
got
at
little legs,
9:20.
and it goes,
Yeah.
and it goes and
They've,
walks from wherever she is to the
yeah.
bench.
They've never
You know,
said that Nikki made her way to the bench. It was just the phone has made its way to the bench.
it's crazy.
Yeah, 14. Shame they hadn't done a search for any nearby Bluetooth devices, assuming Nikki was still turned on. It would have gave a signal underwater. If it not, it had pinged, then she wasn't in the water at the time.
That's another really good point. They took the phone away, didn't they? They took the phone out the area. When if they maybe put the phone, unlocked it and put the phone onto synchronized mode, they might have actually been able to discover if that phone was actually nearby, because Fitbits, they have got a range, and it's to say if you're near a very narrow river and somebody's inside the river and you're at the side, that might be a short enough distance for it to actually attempt to synchronize.
Yeah.
Nobody tried it.
No. And you would walk along the riverbank, because then you'll get to a certain distance that it may pick it up. It was worth a try. Bridget, did AMF phone PA as well as the school? No. PA apparently rung AMF when he was leaving the house.
I think he'd been told by the school that AMF had contacted them, so then he had AMF's number and phoned her directly when he got word.
Yeah,
that's
Lynn,
from what I understand.
Did the coroner see any CCTV at all? No, nothing was shown. This is what I don't understand. Why are they not showing any of the CCTV? They're saying they got these people on CCTV. Prove it.
Yeah. Nothing's been shown. Apparently, the only CCTV that they are quoting and stating they've got is one dash cam that was in the car park of the school, and one CCTV camera. Is it by the grapes, or is it one of the ones that's over by the caravan park?
So you've got CCTV for that's at Rowan Water. You've got CCTV footage that's at the caravan park. You have it at Allotment Lane and by the Grapes pub. So there was no CCTV footage from the school to the river path over the bridge. But I don't know if you remember from our videos that we done, there's actually CCTV footage, CCTV cameras on the building by the church.
And there should be at the school as well.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Exactly.
When we went there,
there one at school as well. Yeah.
So they would have obviously been there, like in operative places to check, kids exits, people going in and out the main doors of the school. But I'm sure they would capture part of the car park as well and the playground.
Yeah,
it's just really, really bizarre, even for a rural area. When you look at how much CCTV they managed to compile for Gaynor Lord, how little they had for Nikki.
Yeah. So I want to, now you've listened to the witness statements, I kind of want to go through the discrepancies that I have found. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to play you
another map with PF's move. I can't remember which one I did last.
Not yet. I'm going to play a couple of clips first. I need to screen share first, don't I? Jesus. Right, hold on.
Is anyone sleeping yet? We had everyone off to sleep last time, didn't we?
Yeah. Right.
I hope everyone's awake tonight.
Can you see that?
Let me stop sharing mine.
Can you see a picture of Nikki?
Try now.
Right. Let me know. Huh? Why is it not coming up? Two seconds.
I've stopped sharing my screen. Try now, Michelle.
Oh, it's because I didn't allow it. Right, now you can see it. So I just got to go back.
Oh, sure, it's coming up now.
I'm just going to put it on my phone so I can see it. Yeah. Right, I'm just going to play this. Did you hear that? I'll play it again.
I can't hear anything from the video.
Could you not?
No.
No.
Oh, why is it not doing it? Right, hold on, I'm gonna have to try again.
It wouldn't be us if we didn't have any techie problems, was it? Let's face it. I'm sorry, guys, but I hope everyone's having a nice
I know
time.
why. 2 seconds. I'm gonna have to turn my headphones off so you can hear it. That's why. Right.
Is it coming from your headphones?
Yeah. Let me know if you can hear it now.
The lady who found the dog, who's been talking, she says that she knew she recognised the dog and she called the police immediately. Then she found the...
Can you hear that?
Yeah,
Right.
yep, we could hear it. That's good.
I'm gonna turn it up so you can hear it again.
Who's been talking, she says that she knew she recognised the dog and she called the police immediately. Then she found the...
So they're saying that PF found the dog and called the police immediately. Okay. So this, I have had a look. That was on the 2nd of February that was released. Okay. So she recognised the dog and called the police immediately. So that was on the 2nd of February. Okay. Then I'm going to go to Sally Riley. Right.
At 9:30, the Teams call ended, but Nicola's phone stayed logged in. And at 9:33, approximately, her phone and her dog were found by another witness who doesn't...
So at 9:33, so this was on the 7th of February, 9:33, Sally Riley has said that
St. Michael's.
the phone was found by...
At 8:43, she was seen on the river path towards the gate. And at 9:10, we had the last complaint logged in. And at 9:33, approximately, her phone and her dog were found by another witness who doesn't know her.
Okay, so that was the 7th of February. I just realised I didn't share that. Did you guys hear that? Because I just realised that I forgot to share the screen.
We heard the audio part.
Good. I'll share the screen for the next one. I've got so much going through my head right now, though. This is why.
Oh, it's crazy. It is so... There is so much, because we're looking at obviously what was said in that at the cop report, and then the news outlets have also given different accounts, different timescales. So we're trying to sort of work out what really sounds about right, and we need your help, guys. If anyone's got any comments or thoughts on this, they would be really, really appreciated.
Okay, right, and then I'm going to share Rebecca Smith. Okay, and again, this was the 15th of February. So get where I'm saying here. So on the 7th, to the 15th, it's still put out there that PF arrived at the gate at 9:33. Okay, so keep that in your mind, guys. 9:33. So I'm just going to play this next part.
We then know at about 9:33, a local dog walker who is walking a dog comes across the bench and finds Willow untied, running between the bench and the gate. The mobile phone is on the bench, face upwards, still logged into the Teams call, and Willow's harness is halfway between the bench and the riverside. That at some time around 9:20, we believe that Nicola's handset had moved towards the bench area. Again, there have been questions raised about her phone, whether that would have been in her possession when whatever happened has happened. But again, I'd just like to point her out that it's really normal for Nicola, when in a Teams call, to be holding her phone out in front of her, listening to it. And we can say from a witness that knows her that morning, that is what she was doing. So that would explain why she doesn't have her phone in her pocket, as I know a number of people have raised. We then know at about 9:33, a local dog walker who is walking a dog comes.
Okay, so at 9:33, again, the local dog walker comes across. Okay, so let's go back to the inquest, to Miss PF's statement. I hope you guys are with me on this, okay? Dr. Adley, okay, what time did you leave to take your dog out? PF, approximately 9:30. So what one did you leave? Okay. How long does it take you to walk from the caravan park to the bench? Approximately 10 to 15 minutes.
We have been there. Now, I would say it takes about 10 to 15 minutes to walk from the road bridge all the way down, you know, up to the kissing gate. Maximum of 10, 15 minutes. It is not that long. It really isn't. And en route, you pass a caravan park. You can get around that area within 10 minutes, maximum 5 minutes, I would say. Yeah. To go between the caravan park and the bench.
Yeah. So I'm just going to go through a tiny little bit of Rebecca Smith's timeline, if I can find it.
Yeah.
Of what she said at the inquest. I've closed it down.
So, shall I put my best coroner's voice on again?
Right. So
this is so hard, guys. We're trying to paraphrase. We're not allowed to. We've typed it up like word for word as best we can do from the audio. So, but we're not sticking to it word for word because we've got to paraphrase. So it is quite hard. So I really love you all because you're just being so patient.
Yeah.
Thank
so
you.
I just want to remind you, they've heard PF's statement. Literally, probably about an hour and a half before. It was in the same day. Okay. So Rebecca Smith.
So she gets sworn in.
Yeah, I'm not going to read all of it. I'm just going to read this bit that I want to. So they know at that time the mobile phone is being shown in the area of the bench. We just love that saying. It stays there until we believed it's moved at 10:33. At 9:23, we see Penny on her home CCTV leaving with her dog. They've got CCTV footage of Penny PF leaving her home at 9:23. Why was this not brought up?
And this is 9:23.
Yes, 9:23. And PF has said that she leave until approximately 9:30.
And this is her leaving, not getting to the bench area. This is the time that she said she left at.
Yep. So I've spotted all of this, okay? And then it goes on to when KB left Rowan-Walter. Okay, so KB left Rowan-Walter at 9:35, and he saw PF at the bench tending to Willow. So he's seen PF at the bench at 9:35. She left at home approximately 9:30, didn't arrive at the bench until 9:45. Okay, but she's been seen there at 9:35. It's just mind-blowing. It really is mind-blowing.
It really is when you look at all the different times that have been flying around and how much they've changed.
Yeah, and the other thing I noticed from the inquest is, bearing in mind, Dr. Adley has got all of their witness statements in front of him because he's referred back to them with other witnesses. Okay, so I think there was one on HON where he says, "Oh, from your witness statement, you said this." But when I'm listening to PF's witness statement, he not once said, "In your witness statement, you said this." Okay. Yeah, so this it just winds me up. I've got one more screen to share with you. So this has all come out from the inquest. Okay, I'm going to go back to other points from the bench, but I just want to show you the College of Police report. Okay, so this come out after the inquest. Where is it?
So yeah, the College of Police report was only released a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it?
Yeah. So 9:30. I hope you can see this. I hope it's appeared up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
9:30. Nicola's Microsoft team ends, but Nicola is still logged into the meeting. Nicola and two other people were still logged into the meeting after it finished. 9:33.
Can you zoom in?
Huh?
Can you just zoom in or you can't?
Can I?
Zoom in.
No.
All right.
9:33 approximately, person F, so this is PF, arrives at the gate, okay, and sees a brown Springer Spaniel dog, Willow, running around with its tail wagging towards the gate and its back towards the bench. Okay. Person F sees a dog harness on the slope, ties up their own dog and looks around. Nicola's phone is on the bench with the screen still lit. So even in the College of Policing report that only come out in November?
Yeah, two weeks ago, literally.
Still says 9:33. Okay. So I want to share. I've got loads to share with you guys, so bear with me, please. So
it's been driving us nuts, hasn't it? Yeah. It really has.
So let me go back to PF's statement. Another thing that I found. So she said that she's walked past the white weir with the river on her right side, and she comes to the stile. Okay. And this is what she said. She got to the stile, the wooden stile, and first of all, she tied her dog up, then climbed over the stile And then she see the Springer Spaniel running loose. Why would you tie your dog up before climbing over the stile if you didn't see anything?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense, does it?
No.
You see that you see the dog first, and then that would prompt you to tie your dog up to stop your dog having a fight with the other dog. But you'd have to see that dog first, wouldn't you?
Yeah. You wouldn't tie your dog up for no reason. But she says she climbed over the stile and then saw Willow running loose after she had tied her dog up. Okay. Now I've got a picture I want to share with you from the stile. This is it. So this is the stile, okay?
Taken by us.
So this is a picture of the stile from
this is one
the perspective.
Yeah, this is one we've took when we've been there, okay? So this is the stile, the slope. I'm hoping you can see my little cursor. Can you see the bench on the left-hand side? All right. So picture that the harness is halfway down from the bench to the river's edge on the grass verge. Willow is running up past the bench to the kissing gate.
Which is further on up again.
Yeah, so the phone's
that's even
on the
more
bench,
uphill.
Right.
And the kissing gate's further on more uphill past the bench, isn't it?
You guys tell me, what would you see first? The harness, the dog, or the phone? What would if you climb over that?
Use your common sense.
If you climb over that stile, what is the first thing you are going to see on when you climb over? Because Bridget says the dog. Funky, got it. You would see the harness because you're in line with it, wouldn't you?
Can you stop sharing for a sec?
Right, I'm going to stop sharing this for a sec because I think Joe's got something to share. But when you step over that stile, you would see a bundle of a harness on the floor. And I'm hoping one day I can set the scene up, if so to speak, to see what you would see first. But PF said that she climbed over the stile after tying her dog up, shall I say. Then she sees the Springer Spaniel loose. Then she sees the phone. Then she sees the harness. The harness is the last thing that she sees. But the harness was
the dog being described though is running between the bench, which is further on uphill, and the kissing gate, which is even more further on uphill. So from that picture, if that picture goes as any reflection, you wouldn't necessarily see the dog because the dog is going to be out of your sight. It's going to be too far up and high to your right-hand side.
Yes.
Left-hand side.
Yes. So Willow was running to and
fro. You've got the river to your right.
The bench to the kissing gate. So she's hidden basically via the tree. But even seeing a dog running around on its own, you can't say that dog's loose on its own because there could be someone standing at the kissing gate, okay? But I still don't understand why she tied her dog up first and then climbed over the stile and then saw the dog. I can't work that out.
Yeah, that chain of events sounds a bit off, doesn't it?
Yeah. Then it gets better. Okay. Just got to find my bit. Right. So after she tied Willow to the bench, she climbed back over the stile, untied her dog, then went back over the stile, past Willow with her dog to go through the kissing gate through the wooded area. Her dog, she's worried that Willow's going to attack, not Willow, her dog's going to attack Willow. but then she pulls her dog back over the stile after untying it, does, which I assume must be a massive loop around Willow, because she doesn't want her dog anywhere near Willow, to go back through the kissing gate. And that was her words. She went through the wooded area this time, not back the
and
way
by that
she came.
stage, Willow should have been tied up with twine, although in the phone calls that RJ talked about on TV, on Sky TV, he said that he was asked to tie Willow up, which makes it even more confusing.
Yeah. So Sky News, I don't know if you remember that with Inslee, when he bumped into RJ.
Ron.
Yeah, Ron.
Ron.
He turned around to Inslee, and he was like, you know, I was trying to find my wife was trying to find me, and PF was on the phone to my wife. At the end of that recording, if you listen very, very carefully, Inslee done he met up with PF the day before and had a meeting with PF off camera. Wasn't on camera or nothing, but he's got his, you know, notes. And that's why he said that PF had come down to the kissing gate, come through the kissing gate and saw the dog running around, the phone on the bench, and the harness on the floor. And now all of a sudden it's changed that she didn't go that way. She went all around the long way.
It just doesn't make sense.
But the biggest thing for me in the inquest, why was that not picked up on by anyone? I'm talking about everyone that's in there. Like Rebecca Smith was in there at that time.
Yeah.
You got this coroner that's meant to be the world's best coroner, didn't pick up on it this time. Or did they?
Yeah.
Did they pick up on it?
Well, this isn't it really. It's usually the coroner's job is to try and make sure that all the accounts marry up perfectly. You know, there's a lot of questions still unanswered about Nikki. They can't say for sure exactly where she entered the water. They don't know.
Yeah.
You know, they know that she ended up in the water, but they can't say for absolute, 100% sake that she actually went in by the bench. She could have entered the water further on downstream from the bench.
Yeah,
it's likely that she went by the bench, but that's only assumed. There's a lot of assumptions made in Nikki's case, and we need to find the facts. And it's so hard when things that are supposed to be factual, such as times, which can be verified by phone calls and CCTV, are being changed.
The whole time before the inquest, PF, it was always put out that she was at the bench at 9:33. Okay, if you think about things, this is me going around in my head. If you think about things, that was fine that whole time. But as soon as that Fitbit data come out, that of what time the heart rate went up, the touching of the phone, the volumes being turned up and stuff like that, it just seems to me someone had to distance herself from that time. Because why would you change your statement so dramatically to the point that you didn't leave till 15 minutes after the first original time that you you left, and 15 minutes after the time that you was already at the bench? You can't argue that, because it's in the cop report as well, which is after the inquest, that she got seen tying or attending to Willow at the bench at 9:35. At 9:35, she was still at the weir.
And also another point I'd like to add is, say she PF had taken her dog for a walk, you know, at the other side of the kissing gate. Now you can see on this picture that as the river curved round, she's still got a view of the actual water. So say if Nikki had fallen into the river, if you're on the bank of the river at the other side of the the stile, if you're there where we can see now, you would see that person in the water. That would be blatantly obvious, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That would be right there. You look at the river, you'd see somebody splashing around.
Yeah. But at 9:35, wasn't that when HON heard the scream? Yeah. So PF was already at the bench at this time.
Yeah.
KB was walking out of Rowan Water at this time. Why did they not hear that scream?
It is just so bizarre.
But yeah, I just, when I've had to listen to this over and over and over again. I'll probably go for it again and still find some more things.
Yeah, I just having a look in the chat as well, and some people are saying, you know, regarding age, and you know, so some of the witnesses are aging. Just in terms of PF, there's a YouTube creator called Curtis Media, and he actually did an informal interview with the lady in person, and she seems pretty lucid to me. She knew what was going on. She was able to stand up to him. So she told him to bugger off. You know, any frailties weren't apparent. Again, if you want to watch that, I think he's put them all back up on his channel again now. It's worth just having a look at that under Curtis Media.
And I don't want to single one person out here, but there's a lot of people of that age that are still very, very capable of doing manual jobs. Okay. They're still very capable of a lot of things.
I've got relatives that are 10 years older and who are still like very, very capable of holding their own and very independent. You know, they take the dogs out for a walk and do all kinds of different things. You know, they're always baking for the family and stuff. So, yeah, you know,
we're not
I
going to
don't believe
speculate
that
what happened
there's any
because we don't.
frailties.
Yeah, we're not going to speculate what happened because we don't know.
Yeah.
The same with the bruises. We don't know how Nikki got the bruises. We can speculate, but we can't give you the facts on that. But that's why we're trying to give you the facts on the inquest stuff, and then you can find the discrepancies. You know, you can see there clear as day. You can even go back to the news reports. Everything says that she was at the bench at 9:33. Why has it changed at the inquest? I just can't get my head around that, and I can't get my head around why no one's picked that up.
So
it's not a minute.
We're trying to be as factual as we can. We've listened to the audio from the coroner's inquest. We've read the cop report. We're trying to piece it all together and make that marry up with each other as well. But it ain't happening. There's so many anomalies in this case, and it scares me because things were never investigated as a crime, were they? They were never ever classified as a crime, or people weren't investigated or questioned. You know, even if it was, you know, they just were taken in formally and asked some questions as to what happened. You know, certainly they've got justification to do that. If things like the story change, that's usually quite a good motive for police to call a person in. But no, that's not happened.
Yeah, see how we wasn't saying about your comment. We're just putting it out there in general because we know it has been put out there, you know, frail old lady, frail old man. But we want to say, you know, there's people out there that's older and they're still doing manual work and still doing extremely well. So we just wanted to put that out there. But yeah, you know, not seeing the harness first, I can't see that because that's the first thing I would have seen going over that style.
Yeah. We've actually been there in person as well, you see. So we've actually, you know, walked across that style and walked through the kissing gate. We know the distances, you know, and when you see it on the telly, when you see it on photographs, it's really, really hard to determine size and space. It really, we were shocked. You know, I was surprised by how small the area was. I thought it was a lot bigger when I saw it on TV when I first watched Lindsay doing a walkabout. It was with Kate Burley.
Yeah.
And then they did the it was a week following when she went missing, and they went for a walk around the field and they did an interview. And that's when they spoke to the male dog walker. It, you know, but the size of the area is just shocking when you actually get there and see for yourself. It's not what I expected it to be.
And it took RJ, it took him 15 minutes to walk from Rawcliffe Road to the area, and it took PF 15 minutes in their way they were saying to get to the bench from where the caravan parks. So
yeah, and you know, we've been there, and it's literally the caravan park's just right next to the next to the fields with the benches next door.
Yeah. No, there isn't hardly any grass in winter, so that is the first thing you would see, especially a bundle of that size. Oh, that was the other thing I wanted to share with you. So in the statement, the PF statement, where is it? So she's said that, I remind you, that she did not move the harness. She didn't pick up the harness, certainly didn't put the harness on the bench, okay? So, cop report. Share screen.
Guys, can I just ask you as well, does anyone else recall hearing right in the early days that the phone was found initially on the grass and it was moved from the grass and placed on the bench? Now, this is again something that I think I'm losing my marbles because I've seen it. I know I've seen it and I've heard it, but can I find anything about it now? No. I've looked everywhere. So if anyone's got any information they can pass over to us, we'd be eternally grateful. We'll give you our email address, and maybe if you do find anything, you could send it over. Because again, that was something that was changed over the course of the story. It started off that her bench was found on the grass, and then it ended up on the bench.
I can't find the bit I want to find, but I found something. Person F unties their own dog, walks back home to allotment lane. Person F leaves Willow tied to the bench and leaves Nicola's mobile and dog harness at the bench. There is a bit on here that says that she picked it up. Oh, here it is. Nicola's mobile is at the bench and with the screen lit up. Person F picks up the dog harness and uses twine in their coat to tie Willow to the bench. Person F picks up the dog harness.
So again, that's different as well.
Yeah.
Guys, do you know what we're saying here? Because it's so confusing. There's just so many changes to the
There's a lot of
story, which
discrepancies.
should be quite straightforward.
Yeah, a lot of discrepancies here, and this is what we're just trying to work out, you know. And did the police know about these changes? This is what I don't get. Did they know about the changes? Did they or, you know, have they generally missed it? I just can't put my head on it.
Yeah, this is the thing, isn't it, really? If they're aware of the changes, why haven't they challenged them? And things like CCTV cameras and footage, that is generally quite a solid, you know, time frame, isn't it? If somebody's captured by CCTV at a certain time, they will usually use that as a gospel. So if somebody's given an account that differs from that, you've got to ask why.
Yeah, you know, and really, if you think about it, you know, with the discrepancies that PF said she left approximately at 9:30, and then you've got Rebecca Smith saying the CCTV of her leaving at 9:23. That's where Dr. Adley should have turned around and said, right, I need to see the CCTV so I know which one's right. But it's like they've just completely ignored all of that.
Yeah, the CCTV wasn't played in the coroner's inquest.
Yeah, none of it was.
Absolutely none of it.
And, you know,
so it is quite, it's up to you guys. You need to use your common sense here and really have a think about just think about what would you do if you were in that situation? What would your actions be? Would you run off to a meeting that was so important when you had a situation like this going on where you're a business owner and it's just happened, you know, right next to your business? Would you just go dashing off to another appointment, you know, for a hearing test? Is that really that important? I don't think I would. I think I would probably just give them a quick call and say, can we rearrange? Something's come up. I've got something else to deal with, because it would have fundamentally affected business anyway. Or is she trying to get away from the house? That does not suit her, but has to not be there.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. Guys, just make your own decisions up, really. You know,
there was something that you said. This one? They didn't say why she wasn't at the inquest. They just said she had good reasons not to be there.
Yeah,
so we can't answer that one. Katrine Higgs, policeman who disappeared. Yes, that's the one that we've heard rumours about, that he's not on the police website anymore.
Yeah, that's a little bit strange as well, isn't it? He's not under Lancashire Police on any of their staff lists or anything now as well. Yeah. It's a little bit odd.
That and
it's all
Becky Smith retiring early, and the poor recent death of the other police officer. Lawson. I don't want to say his name.
I think the police were, from what I understand now, and I was quite maybe on the verge of unfair to Becky Smith initially, because I was criticising her for what she wore during a press conference, and then later on I was told that she actually wasn't scheduled to be doing that press release. It was somebody else, and they basically called in sick. So she gets called in to do it. She's not happy about doing it because she's the CIO of the case, and there's usually conflict of interest if the CIO does a press release, because they generally pass the role of dealing with the media over to a more media rep type role. Again, this is detailed a lot more when you look at the COP report as well. But she didn't want to do that interview in the first place, and she was just like thrust into doing it with. She didn't want to do it. She'd given a statement, and yet she had no choice. She was just told to get on with it, basically. So I understand her a little bit more now, and I think I was a little bit unfair on her. And I say that I'm sorry. I didn't know the full story when I said it, because you don't in this case. A lot of the stuff isn't obvious, but a lot of it's come out in a cop report.
Yeah, 14 statements given in the very early days. Yeah, I've always said, this is why I've said when we started covering this case, we wanted to go back to the beginning, because I can guarantee that the statements and everything given at the beginning, they are fresh. They are fresh in someone's memories. They've been written down in the police's black book. Everything there, you can say, you can't change nothing from that, because they are what happened. You know, the guys, the people that was all at the bench that day, they would have gave their statements literally that afternoon.
Exactly.
So,
and while it's all fresh in her mind, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, giving a statement about something that happened 3 months ago is a lot harder than giving a statement that's about something that's happened 3 days ago, for instance. So, yeah, right. I agree that, if you look at the press information that went out right at the time, a lot of that is going to be more factually correct, because it's just happened.
Yeah,
people do get confused over time, and after every, they hear someone else's account, somebody else has said something, they get confused by things that are hearsay, and they get confused. Well, I don't remember it like that, but maybe I'm wrong, and they start doubting themselves, and it's not the case.
Take 3 hours for the dive team to get there when their target was found? You know, all of this now is going through my head. It really is. But I've seen a couple about comments about the bruises that was found on Nikki. You know, this is my fault only. I don't want to say that this is what happened, but this is my fault from what I can see. So do you remember, like, I think the best picture really is to look at is when PC Thackeray done his horrendous reconstruction of in the river, going down the river. When he first walked up to the river, you could see all of those stones. Okay, as you get to the river's edge, you've got all those stones, and then it goes deeper. If you can imagine someone, I don't want to say falling in, because I don't think she fell in, but I don't want to speculate, but say if someone went into the river, those stones would cause, quite a bit of bruising if you landed on them. So it
would also be really, cushioned by the water though as well.
Yeah. That's the only way I can sort of explain the bruising.
I think if you fall in water, you've got a layer of water cushioning your fall. You might clip your leg on a rock, and you might get a bruise to one area, but all those different sites,
I know,
and different parts of the body, that doesn't really make sense.
No, but when you're trying to work things out in your own head, and you think you think out loud. But say I'm going to say it this way, but don't take this for anything. I'm just going to say a dog jumped up and she lost her balance. Okay, just as an example. So say if a dog jumped up and she lost her balance and fell, as you are falling, because it's you're not expecting this dog to jump up at you. and you fall, you lose your balance. So you could fall in sideways, which would explain all the, because you remember, was the bruising all on the right hand side of her or the left hand side? I need to go back and have a look.
I think it was both sides of her body, wasn't it? I think it was opposite arm and leg on both sides of her body.
Back and have a look. So I'm just thinking out loud. This is us
we're doing this, and then we start forgetting ourselves. We have to keep on going over the information over and over again because there's so much of it. Literally, that we literally look at one thing and then we have to go back and check details again because there's just so much going on there, and there's so much contradiction there as well.
Okay, right. Yeah, the big bruise was on the left leg. The big bruise was on the right arm. So it was opposite. So, yeah, I can forget that one now.
Yeah.
So this is what I do.
So that wouldn't mean that she fell on one side then and hurt herself on the riverbank.
So that was just one of the things I was trying to, find an explanation for the bruises, but we just can't, can we?
It just doesn't make any sense, any of it.
No. But yeah, from that witness statement, we found all that discrepancies. I need to go through the rest of it again. And the other thing was when I was listening to it and transcribing it, I had it through my headphones. And when someone was giving their witness statement, I could hear paper rustling. So it's not even, it was like written down in front of them in a way.
So like just reading it all off
the
script.
It's still wrong. So
yeah. Because I was just explaining, like whenever I've gone to court, basically, it's stressful to be in that situation, but if you're telling the truth, your story is always going to be consistent because you're telling the truth. If you're trying to remember, what did I say happened, that's where you start getting little deviations going on. But if you're like saying the truth, you're playing it over in a part of your brain that you kind of visually see it, what it felt like, how cold it was, or what it smelled like out there. You're reliving that situation again from so many different angles, and your brain like just recalls all of it.
Yeah. So CL, he feels that KB and the family don't want anything to do with the caravan park, hence slightly altered statements. I believe because KB's statement was never put out in the inquest. His statement has only appeared in the College of Policing report, whereas he should have been at the inquest because he put PF in that location at that time. So to me, his statement at the inquest would be more valuable than having someone that heard the scream from the tennis club.
There's a lot of people who have been mentioned today that weren't in the coroner's inquest that should have been, in my opinion. They were spoken about, but they weren't there in person.
No.
And equally, there were people who weren't at that coroner's inquest who were there when Nikki got recovered, again, who should have been there but weren't. And that includes Peter Folding, in my opinion, and the person that found her. Because that would give us an idea
AMS.
of what happened.
Yeah, AMS should have been there because she was the one that spoke to the police, not to the police, to the school, and spoke to PA.
She's had quite a large role in it, and she was the one that identified who Willow was and who, the phone belonged to.
Yeah. So she should have been there straight off.
Yeah.
The same with KB. there was one witness that I've missed that I will go through. The reason why we've run out of time, so the reason why I left her out, because she was the one that was messaging Nikki over Facebook Messenger about the play date. Okay, so she was there with that, but
Yeah.
those two wasn't there with their witness statements, and I find that they are more important than having someone there about play date.
In my opinion, yeah, definitely. Yeah, because the information about the play date can be read remotely from a string of text messages, can't it? You can take Nikki's phone and read that straight off. That's just factual information just there. You don't need those people to say anything more. They can't really add anything more than what was text on that day.
Yeah.
But these other people can, because they, had that they were physically involved.
Yeah, like you said, they can get the messages off the phone, so they don't need someone there to say, well, they said this, I said that. They can read that, and you can't. You know what it's like over like messages. Someone could say something, and the other person would think, oh, they sound really happy, or oh, they don't sound very happy today. But it's just how the messages come across.
It is crazy. Just reading Martin. So you're saying right at the beginning, it was said that Nikki's phone was found on the grass, and it was on a police report from Sally Riley. Yeah, I know I've got it from somewhere. I know that's what I always thought, and then I remember being surprised when they changed that to say, "Oh no, her phone was found on the bench," and I'm like, "But that's not what I heard earlier on. I heard that a phone was found on the grass, and I don't know who's moved it."
Yeah, it's. I so wish I could find these early reports that I want to find, because there was even reports that Willow was running down Garstang Road at the beginning.
Yeah, I heard that as well. Yeah,
and they're the reports that I really want to be able. Wish I could get my hands on, because if I could get my hands on them, we could.
Well, we've got some more. We've got some more to go through, haven't we? Because we still haven't covered the expert testimonies. They've reviewed the Fitbits. It's not an expert that's done it. It's some police officers who work for the technical unit who had a look at Nikki's Fitbits and deciphered data from there. And then we've obviously we haven't gone over. So is it Thackeray's? Have you done? Did we do him last time?
See You for a Chat has actually just commented on something that I just want to reiterate. So they put same reason why Peter Fording wasn't called. He would have told him he found Nikki's body and how slow the water was. But the funny thing is I was listening to it again yesterday. Her name was Lorna Dennison Wilkinson. She actually is like a diving expert, but you will never guess who she works for. I can't find it.
Who does she work for?
I think it's either Surrey or Sussex Police.
Oh my gosh!
You can't. Right, hold on.
You can't make it up.
No, you can't, can you?
No.
So, yeah, Sussex Police. So she joined Sussex Police in 1998. Okay. So she probably, I would say, pretty much 100% worked with Peter Fording. But she was called there to literally reiterate what PC Thackeray has done. And she's even got a PhD related to the body recovery and water study. I haven't listened to it all yet. I can't wait to listen to it all. But I just found that very ironic that they called her, who works for Sussex Police, but they didn't call the guy that was actually involved in search, as in
It's
Peter Fordin.
crazy. It really is. Yeah, you just thought that they would have called Peter Falding.
Yeah,
everything in this case is just bizarre. I've never seen a case like it. I hope we don't see a case like it again either, because it's awful for the families who were involved firsthand. I really do feel sorry for the family, and I just hope to God that Nikki's kids do get down to the truth, because they will want to know when they're older.
Yeah, they will.
I love the way that people talk about kids just being, like not having brains and can't think for themselves. Well, I've got little girls, and I remember them being that age, and they definitely knew what was going on. They definitely knew who was taking them to school. They could definitely tell you a story and reiterate what has happened. They were amazing, at that age. So Nikki's kids, I'm sure, will be the same as what my two were like, and they will be interested in what's happened. They're probably being advised not to look at anything, in terms of the media right now. The parents are probably trying to, keep them away from tablets and newspapers and all the other outlets that are covering Nikki's story. But they'll know a lot more than anyone gives them credit for knowing.
Yeah, it's like, I know there's a lot of things out there regarding Peter Fordin and that at the moment, but I think with that, there's a lot of people can't understand why he didn't come out with what he did until after the cop report come out. But I suppose with that, we've just got to wait and see what happens. We can't.
There was a gagging order the coroner put a gagging order on everyone who was involved in the search for Nikki. That includes Peter, as well. Even though he's not working for the police, he was still involved. Therefore, he still, as soon as that gagging order was put into place, whatever date that was, he wouldn't be allowed to talk about that case publicly until the College of Police had released their report. So on the same day as that report went live, Peter Falding made a statement about it. So he wasn't allowed, literally wasn't allowed.
Yeah.
And it's his bread and butter at the end of the day, and you don't want to piss off the coroner, do you, when you're in that line of work?
No. But
it's not an option.
We will see what lies ahead. I don't know what's going to yet to come. It kind of makes you think if this is a massive cover up, what's going to come out of it. But
because we've got our own opinions on things, and we're trying to we're looking at the facts. This is what we set out to do, straight from day dot when we started this channel, was to get the facts out there. But we are human beings, and we do have our own opinions on things. We've just think what else have we got to cover? There's still quite a bit, isn't there? Left?
Yeah, we've still got quite a bit to go through.
All the experts,
it's the experts really that we've got to go through next. The reason why it is taking so long to do, because we're having to listen to it a few times so we can get, we can understand it and get it out as factually as we can. We don't want to just put it out and not really know what we're putting out to you guys. The cop report, I've just seen something. The cop report there's 2 other people that were still logged into the meeting after it finished at 9:43. So they're saying that the Teams meeting didn't end at 9:30 now, it ended at 9:43.
9:43.
Yeah, that's what it says in the COT report.
Oh, that's odd. Or is that what time maybe that she eventually got switched off from it or kicked out?
Do you get kicked out of it after a while? So, do you know what? I'm going to set up. I think we should set up a Teams meeting call.
Yeah.
And just
I used to use them in work.
Yeah, just so we can, see after a while if it kicks you out or.
It'll usually, it's just like a chat room. And then if you're still in there, and it'll leave you there until the organizer just closes that chat room down, and then anyone that's left remaining just gets booted out.
Yeah, maybe that's what happened.
Yeah.
See, none of that's come up, has it? No one's actually confirmed whether it finished at 9:30 or 9, or whether it overrun. No one's. Mark, what do you know about? So you set the time for the meeting, yeah. Oh, it eventually closes. Yeah.
Usually, you have like a gathering space. Just be like, say if it's scheduled to start at 9, you might log in at 5 to 9, and then you've got like a waiting space, and then you'll have your meeting, and then people disperse. And usually, as an organizer, you might leave it run for a little bit longer, because there might be 2 people or 3 people or whatever from that meeting want to have a chat whilst they're in there, whilst that space is open. So you might not bring it to an end straight away, but then when you know that it's virtually been evacuated, no one else has bothered using it now, and there might be one or 2 people in there that just haven't logged out, you just close it down, as long as you just check that they're not mid-conversation.
Is there like a certain time after, like, say, the meeting finishes that you're kind of left hanging in that room, and then it automatically kicks everyone off that's in that room?
I don't think it automatically happens. I think it's the organizer will just close it down.
Just close it, yeah.
Yeah, I had a it was online training we had, and it went on for an hour. And I know at the end I wanted to talk to the trainer, so it finished, and then I said, "Can I have a word?" And she said, "Yeah." So we used that facility at the end after other people had gone to have a little chat about something. There were other people, still there, and they could listen to what was being said, but most of the people went, and a lot of the people who were still there had the same question as I did as well, and then we wrapped it up afterwards, and then that organizer just like closes it down. But yeah, sometimes you might get somebody who's midway through one of those calls, and then they might get a separate call from a customer, for instance, and they might just have to leave themselves logged in and go and deal with a customer.
Yeah, Mark's just said you can set a time slot for it to close. Thanks, Mark.
You can. I think you can do that. But I know it might, like the one I used. It seemed like they just kick you out.
Yeah.
It'd be whoever was the actual designated organizer would just do that when the time's right.
Does anyone have any questions? Because I know that is a lot of information to take in tonight.
Yeah.
I know, like,
what do you want us to talk about next time?
Well,
where should we go next time?
We've got the professional witness statements to go through, and then that's all of them.
Yeah, because that includes the call outs that Nikki had from welfare, isn't it? We haven't gone through that yet.
Yeah, her doctor.
An interesting one.
That Lorna Dennison Wilkinson. Yeah, so we've got all of them to go through next.
Cold water shock experts.
Yeah, cold water shock experts. So, but yeah, but if anyone's got any questions or anything that they want to just ask quickly now, because I know that was a lot of information tonight. Thanks, 14. sleep well.
Have you all
Yeah,
understood today properly? Are we better in terms of our mics? Are they not
I
too
was literally
crackly
up till
today?
3 o'clock this morning, literally doing that, going through all of that. I just couldn't stop.
Even forgot about my
Oh,
birthday.
fair
Yeah,
play.
I even forgot
So
about
much
Joe's
to-
birthday because I was too busy
Yeah.
doing this.
Happy birthday, Joe! Woo! Oh, bless it. See how dedicated Joe is. She even comes and does this on a birthday.
I know, bless her.
That is like literally goes to say a lot, really. It's been a lot, and it's been going on. You know, for ages. We've been talking about it for so long. It's not just when we actually go live. It's all the other times as well. We're just trying to sort of get all our facts together. But we appreciate you guys as well, because it's like the weekend between Christmas and New Year, and you're all here with us as well. And we appreciate that.
We hope, you know, you've all had a nice Christmas as much as you can.
Yeah.
I put that, obviously, the post up Christmas Eve for Nikki, and someone did comment saying, like, lots of people go missing. Why have we just, you know, highlighted and done that dedication for Nikki? It's like, we understand that a lot of people go missing in the UK, and it's not you know, it's not a nice time for anyone that's lost anyone or anyone that's gone missing. And, you know, I just want to put out there that we do think about everyone, but the main reason we made this channel, you know, we'd never been on YouTube before, but the main reason why we made this channel is because
YouTube virgins.
Yeah, as you can tell. But
doesn't show up, does it?
No. But yeah, the reason why that was just dedicated to Nikki's family and Nikki herself was because that is why we made this channel. So we are mainly here for Nicola Bully and for her family, and I hope that they found the strength from each other to get through Christmas and to get through New Year, because she was in our thoughts Christmas Day, and we did sit at the table, we raised a glass for her. I just got a cold chill down my spine saying that. But yeah, I just wanted to put out there that is why we made this channel. After all of this, we don't know whether we will carry on. Someone else, there might be another story that we'd like to cover. But if anyone goes missing, we do share it on our Facebook page. But we do not cover live streams because we want our total focus on Nikki's case, because we do want to get her justice.
Because we're a female-led channel. We're all mums. We just all felt that connection with Nikki because of you know, our own home lives. And you know, by God, if that happened to a friend of mine, you know, I'd hope they would get a better response, you know, in terms of the police to actually go and help find them, and so the family's not waiting all that duration of time, you know, 3 weeks to wait for their body to be found. Just awful. I can't imagine
that they come out with her the menopausal stuff as well. That
and having all that private information leaked is just disgusting, because at that stage, you know, they didn't know where she was. She could have been somewhere, and she could have been hearing all this awful stuff being said about her.
Yeah, and we're hoping that doing this and, you know, hopefully getting some sort of truth out of it for Nikki's family and the girls, we're hoping this will hopefully in the long run change the way that the missing person cases are dealt with, because there's been nothing but mistakes and discrepancies with this. I just saw a question. Why has no one covered everyone's possible motives? Right? Yeah, see, the co-workers, that's what I mean. None of them have come out, Caroline.
Yeah, that's
you would have thought that I know they didn't hear anything, and I know, you know, they didn't hear anything, and Nikki didn't talk on the thing, but it's come out now in the cop report at, you know, at 9:43. So that really should have been put out there that, the team's meeting finished at 9:30, but everyone got kicked off at say 9:43. It would make that a lot more sense, whereas at the moment you don't know what makes sense and what doesn't. Caroline, don't even get me started on the Fitbit battery that could not have lasted that long in 3 to 4 Celsius water, and the heart rate. I will get on that next week, but the heart rate, you know, if you pull a plug out,
oh yeah,
and the water's going out, that's moving a lot faster than what that water is in the river wire.
Oh, it's crazy. It really is crazy. And you realise when you hit the full inquest how it was all kind of these specialists were brought into the room. It's kind of like a narrative with parts to play. And these, you know, so you had these cold water experts. So it was already determined that that's what's happened to her. And there weren't any questions or any leeway for anything else to happen to it. It had to be what they said.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
So if no one's got any more questions, I think we should call that a night, because I knew it was going to be a long one tonight. But
just a big shout out to everyone. Christmas is hard, and if you do need to talk to us, we're there for you. You know, we're there on our Facebook group, and you know, I don't like Christmas. Email us as well. And you know, just it's a hard time of year for a lot of families, mine included. So if you need to talk. You've got some people here that are really happy to listen to you. You know, and we have actually, you know, I've had some good chats with people over the past few days who've been through their own hell, and you know, you're better to talk about it than to keep it quiet. So we're here.
Yes, we are. And I guess the next big thing coming up is New Year's Eve now. So I'm hoping that, you know.
Oh, tea and honey. Yeah, right. I've had a really bad chest infection, but you weren't very well, were you, Michelle, either last week?
Well, Joe's worse. Joe's in the background coughing, which is probably what everyone can hear. She's really struggling at the moment, bless her.
Tea and honey, you can't beat it. It really, I use Manuka honey. It's really, really good.
Yeah,
anyone's struggling out
there.
there.
Doing for her though. I get an onion, cut the onion up, and then I get honey with a bit of sugar and lemon. Put some more onion in there, just let it all marinate in itself, and then I'll give it to her.
Onion in honey.
Yeah, it honestly helps the cough. But when I get a cough, she does it back to me, and I hate it.
I found that Sharon.
Is it Sharon? Sharon from the Inquest. Hey, Sharon. Sorry, but yeah.
Hey, Sharon. I like ginger. Marks and Sparks do this ginger drink, and I call it the bomb. And it's just like you can buy them in little shots, so you can buy a bigger one. And I just bought the bigger one, and I was just like swigging that. Oh my god, it tastes disgusting. It's like ginger with like lemon juice in it, but by heck, it helped me cough. It really did.
So Julie agrees with me. Onion syrup is fab. But yeah, when she gives it to me, I'm like a little, you know, when you give a baby a lemon or something in that face, I'm like that. I might go and hide somewhere when she does that to me next.
Yeah, and garlic's supposed to be good for you as well, isn't it, when you've got the allergy?
Yeah, when I've got a horrible cold or something, I always make a very, very hot chili, my own recipe, and I always swear down by it. It works.
Yeah, just something with a bit of heat behind it, isn't it? It's always good for you. Oh, isn't it
Yeah.
crazy though? Like we have Christmas at the time of year when it's dark most of the time during the day, and we've all got to like go and run around Christmas shopping and and
It's
then
because
we've
everyone
usually got
starts.
coughs and
Yeah.
colds as
It's
well.
because everyone starts winding down, ready for Christmas, and it always attacks you at Christmas. So anyone that's
Everyone's like,
in the chat or listening to this after, you know, if you're poorly, we feel your pain, but we will get there.
and if you look on our chat, we've got loads of really good recipes now on how to get rid of it.
Yeah.
So thanks. Pick up to the old crew there in chat. Thanks. We really appreciate you coming on.
Garlic fermented in honey is that a lollipop, Julie? I might try that.
Oh, kill me.
You're setting her off by laughing. But yeah, so guys, we'll say good night now. We've had a little chat at the end. But yeah, if we don't see you before, we will see you in the new year, and I hope you all have a lovely new year.
Yeah. And we will come back with the last few bits of the coroner's inquest. There's quite a lot still that we have to go through because it's a 2-day inquest, so that's why we've had to split it up. So you probably find the last bit interesting as well. It's very techy, but it's an important part again with an interesting timeline.
I know I was listening to a bit about the Fitbit and I kept getting lost, so it might take a while to get through that. But yeah, so good night, guys. Have a lovely new year. We will be raising a glass to Nikki at 12 o'clock.
Happy Hogmanay. If you're Scottish, Hogmanay. You hug many. That's what I always say.
Yeah. Or just thinking out loud, if we get enough people that are not doing anything New Year's Eve and you know you're on your own, we can go live and we can all raise a glass for Nikki just before midnight.
If anyone fancies doing that, I'm up for that. Sure, yeah.
I think that would be nice. A nice way to bring in the new year.
And then just pray for that in 24 Nikki gets some justice. I just want to get justice in 24 for Nikki. I just hope somebody has a realization that, do you know what? Maybe there is a little bit more that we can do to investigate this. And just, you know, the police are the ones holding all the cards here at the end of the day. They've got all the reports, all the witness testimonies, everything.
Well, we've just had a few people say they'd love to do that. So I'll tell you what, New Year's Eve, we'll go live. Might doll myself up so you can see me and we're all raising a glass for Nikki. Okay? We'll do that.
Yeah.
I've just got another cold shield down my spine.
With makeup on, which would be unusual, but it happens.
All right. Well, we will all see you New Year's Eve. We'll let you know what time we'll go live, yeah? We're just, have a chat, have a laugh for New Year's Eve, and then we'll raise a glass. We'll leave all of this inquest stuff for now. And we'll do that.
We won't be going over the inquest. We'll just be like having a chat here as a lovely team of people that we are, with you guys included, because we wouldn't be anything without you guys. So I just want to thank you as always, because we're nothing without you.
No, we're not. We appreciate your support. So hope you enjoyed the live, and we will see you guys New Year's Eve.
Yay.
Right, speak soon.
Take care, my lovelies. Bye.